Hey guys, welcome back to more HOA stories. In this video, a new couple moved onto my street and within weeks started collecting thousands in HOA fines. The problem? Our neighborhood has never had an HOA before, but my neighbors were too scared to question it. Let's dive right into the story. So I've been living in my neighborhood for over 10 years. Never have we had or seen a need to have a homeowner association. We have a calm neighborhood with lots of community activities that get organized by different committees. A few months ago, a new family moved in down the street, and they've been treating some people in our community so poorly due to their entitled attitudes that I don't think many of us want to organize things anymore. We are all worried that this family will come and crash the party or make entitled demands that put more stress on all of us who used to organize things just for the enjoyment of it. This family has been telling a lot of the neighbors that they are doing things against some kind of regulation. They've been complaining about colors that people have painted their houses or fences, that some homeowners have too many flowers and not enough grass, and pretty much anything else you can think of. The complaints were one thing, as frustrating as they were for everyone, but I've heard that they've also started to hand out some violation notices with amounts of fines on them due to people supposedly violating HOA bylaws. I've never known the neighborhood to have an HOA, and hearing people say that they were receiving fines was a shock to me. Hearing that some had paid was even more shocking. Why did you pay it? I asked one neighbor. They told me that if I didn't pay, they would add interest and that it might go to a collection agency that could end up taking my car, my house, and anything else that I owned eventually if I resisted, she said. Didn't you question the fact that we've never had a homeowners association? I said. They had a rulebook and documentation, she said. Do you really think that they are fake? I'm not sure what to think, I said, but I think it definitely bears looking into. Things just don't seem right. Word of what I had said had somehow gotten back to the entitled couple, Karen and Kevin I will call them. They came to see me a few days later with a notice. You're in violation of Article 5, subsection 3, said Karen. What is that? I asked. You've been parking in the driveway, said Karen. Okay, but it's my driveway, I said. It's a shared pathway in the neighborhood, said Karen. You're blocking other people's walking access. It is in my own yard. While I sometimes let people walk in the yard to take a shortcut home, that is not an obligation on my part. You're wrong, said Karen. I suggest you check the deeds with the land registry, I replied. You will see that I'm in the right in what I'm saying. Well, Karen was not happy that I'd argued, but she left anyway, and I went about my day. However, I heard about more people in the neighborhood giving into the intimidation and paying fines. And by the way guys, pretty smart of Karen to move into a neighborhood and then essentially start acting like the local mafia and collecting money from people. Anyway, if anyone asked about the newness of the organization, they said that they had the authority and pulled out documents and what appeared to be special credentials. This prompted more people to pay them, and soon I'd heard of so many people paying them. I wondered where the money was going and what improvements were being done with it in the neighborhood, so I decided to ask Kevin about it the next time I saw him. He didn't seem to be quite as entitled as his wife, and I wondered if I could maybe get the answers I sought if I could get him on his own. We are a legally constituted organization, said Kevin. How and when? I replied. What difference does that make to you? He asked. It matters to me. Because I live in this neighborhood and homeowner associations are supposed to be governed by the homeowners who are on the committee. I've only ever heard of you and Karen being involved in the process. Something doesn't seem right, so either you're going to tell me the truth or I will seek legal assistance to figure this out. You just want to bring problems to the neighborhood, said Kevin. Perhaps we should create a file on you and see if you get voted out of the neighborhood. And here I had thought that getting Kevin alone would make it easier to speak to him, but it had not worked in the way I'd wanted. After I spoke to him, I ran some errands. When I got home, there was a fine in my driveway once again for driveway parking, and by now I had absolutely enough. I decided to do some research into this HOA. I didn't find it registered anywhere, so I called the municipality where I lived and they also had no record of it. I looked up the registration number on the notice I'd received and couldn't locate it anywhere. That was when I knew it was time to take action and try to rally my neighborhood behind me. It didn't take long once I began talking to my neighbors for word to spread that the HOA was actually likely a fake one and that the money that many had paid was only going to Karen and Kevin personally and not to making any improvements in our neighborhood. The neighbors who had been afraid decided it was time to be brave now, and together we all decided that none of us were going to pay these fines. We were going to fight this together as a community. We had been strong before Kevin and Karen had arrived. They could not take our strength from us. "You're ruining the neighborhood," said Karen. "We have big plans for it. We are the owners of this place after all." "So do we," I said one afternoon, as all the neighbors gathered in the park. "And your ideas are not ours, so stop with your stupid fake notices. And we want you to refund everyone what you took from them." Karen and Kevin laughed it off. We decided to consult the police, and with their investigation turning up what my inquiries had, we learned that we absolutely didn't have a homeowner association. In the end, Karen and Kevin were taken into custody, charged with fraud and theft by deception, and later released on bail pending their court date. Our actions were absolutely humiliating to them, and they were angry and frustrated that we had stood our ground. We decided that we were gonna reclaim our neighborhood and start to hold events again, but Karen and Kevin stayed far away from our activities. Eventually, Kevin and Karen sold their home and left the community. The court case dragged on for months, and while Kevin and Karen were eventually convicted, they had already spent most of the money. Some neighbors received small restitution payments, but most never recovered what they had lost, but we managed to rebuild our lives and take back our happiness. What had happened was a terrible thing, and we promised to never let something like that make us afraid to seek legal help again. "We should plan our potlucks again," said one neighbor, "and our paint nights," said another, "and barbecues," piped up another. We had stopped doing so many things because Kevin and Karen and their families had made us feel uncomfortable at our own events. We had lived for months with isolation, and now it was time to reclaim our community. We had started a little bit after we had stopped up to them, but now that they had officially left town, and we did not have to be afraid that they might crash our party to try and take out their anger on us. We still don't know about their motives for this fake HOA or what they did with the money they managed to extort their fake notices. However, the people who did pay have come to terms with what happened and are content to put that chapter of their lives behind them. I'm personally fortunate that I didn't pay. I'm sorry that I couldn't have convinced many of my neighbors to not pay before I did, but time marches on, and with it the sun rises and sets each day. What I just hope is that having the police catch them in our community will be enough for Kevin and Karen to learn their lessons and to live honest lives wherever they are now. I hope that their children can grow up to be good citizens and not learn the wrong things from their parents' actions. And the next one is a brilliant malicious compliance story, which is titled "Civilian Dependent Wife Demands Salute Because of Her Husband Rank," posted on r/malicious compliance. So there are a handful of rules to saluting in the American military. The when, why, and how is drilled into you from boot camp until the day you leave. Even the order in which the salutes are rendered have meaning. When it comes to vehicles, there are helpful insignia and stickers to indicate if it's an officer, such as a colored sticker located on the front windshield. My base was small enough where it was everyone's job at some point to do sentry duty at the front gate, which had housing for military families. Sentry duty was pretty basic. You would stop every vehicle, check IDs, and then wave them through. If there were an officer, you would see it coming with those colored stickers, and after verifying the identity of the officer, you would salute and send them on their way. One day, while on duty, I approached a vehicle with an officer's sticker, and there was only the officer's wife driving in the vehicle. I returned her ID, wished her a nice day, and waved her through. Pausing with a stern look, "Where's my salute, OP?" Now, Karen here was wife to a higher-ranking officer and has clearly fallen under the impression that people are saluting her somewhere along the way. Some of the junior enlisted might have been even saluting her, as they are pretty easy to bully and more prone F-ups. I politely replied, "Ma'am, salutes are only rendered to commissioned officers," angrily pointing her chubby little fingers at the front of her windshield towards her husband's officer sticker. "I have a sticker and you need to salute the sticker." Currently, I continued, "I'm afraid that sticker is not an officer either." Frustrated, she pulled through and left my post. My cover guy, the guy keeping me safe with a big gun, and I watched her drive down the street and pull right into the administrative building with the top brass and huffed into the building as quickly as her soft, crappy body would take her. We exchanged a look between us with wry smiles, knowing exactly where this is probably going. Later that day, we get a new official base-wide mandate. From here forward, all enlisted will salute vehicle stickers of officers regardless of who is in the vehicle. Roger that. That is where the malicious compliance comes in. It's worth noting that when you salute an officer as enlisted, you do it first and you hold that salute until you are saluted in return and they lower theirs. Only then do you lower your salute. It signals that you are saluting them and they are replying. Additionally, when saluting a group of officers, you generally direct your salute and greeting to the highest ranking individual. Now, as far as I know, this stupid sticker salute order has no accommodation for how a 2004 Toyota Camry fits into the officer's packing order. Additionally, if the car is unoccupied, it's not like that sticker is removed. After that order came through, we all began saluting stickers. Personally, I would direct my salute to the sticker, and I would also prioritize sticker salutes over officers, and let me tell you, walking through parking lots was a blast as I saluted empty cars on my way to wherever. More and more people saw me doing it, and more people started doing it not long after the order was publicly rescinded, which hilariously had the balancing effect of never rendering a salute to anyone but a clearly known officer, cementing Karen never getting her unearned salutes. And the next one is titled, "Don't like it? Just leave." So this happened today. My husband and I have been car shopping as I was in an auto accident at the beginning of summer. Our car was totaled in the accident and it has been a long process. We finally decided on the automobile we wanted, got all our paperwork completed and had our financing all worked out. All we needed to do now was sign all the paperwork and then drive away. The dealership is 90 minutes from our house, so we took the kids out of school early and my husband took off work after lunch. We wanted to make sure we were home in time to keep our typical school night schedule going. We get to the dealership at our agreed upon time and we did one more test drive and we were ready to sign everything. Then the game started. All of a sudden, the finance office was not ready for us, and then after an almost 2-hour wait, they were ready. The finance person started by trying to upsell us on all the add-ons dealers try to sell you usually. We told her we didn't want anything extra, we just wanted to look at the numbers, read the paperwork, sign it all, and then head out. Due to our wait, we had a limited amount of time to get this done and still be able to get home in time for the kids' bedtime routine. The first thing she does is pull out a different set of numbers than we were originally given and agreed to. All of a sudden, there's a dealership fee for selling us a car at this time of year, nearly $1,000 for this nonsense, and then she states that if we don't like the fee, we could leave as they have people begging to buy cars from them. So my husband and I stood to leave. She then tells us we cannot leave as she has already printed the forms. I laughed at her and told her to go out and get one of those beggars to buy it. So far, the finance person has called twice and the salesperson has called 4 times. I guess they were not expecting someone to get that far and then walk away. ETA, I didn't update sooner as I really wanted to finish the situation before revisiting. The truly terrible car dealership was Offenburg Nissan in Shiloh, Illinois, and we went with an auto sales company that was a no negotiation, no hassle and no hidden fees company, and honestly, getting my insurance updated took longer than anything in their office. The next one is another super interesting HOA story. It is titled HOA Security Gone Wrong. So our HOA hosts an annual chili cook-off. It's a modest event. We usually get about 20 to 30 chilies and 100 people to enjoy them. For a little bit of background though, we live in a very quiet upper middle class suburban neighborhood. We have a few gated facilities like a tennis court and a pool, and we hire a couple neighborhood teens every summer to check memberships at the gate, but everybody already knows everybody, so it's really just to toss a few bucks and some job experience to the kids. The only crime we have is the occasional speeder who cuts through our neighborhood to get between streets during rush hour. The annual chili cook-off is always held at our tennis court. Instead of the local teen guarding the gate for whatever reason, our HOA insists on hiring a rent-a-cop for this event in particular. There's no rhyme or reason, it's actually one of the smaller annual events that our neighborhood hosts, and none of the other events have security. Anyway, so this clown shows up in a bulletproof vest that has a Punisher patch on it. By the way though, even though that is ridiculous, I love the Punisher. One of my absolute favorite movies, series and even video games. Don't forget the comics as well. Either way, he parks his SUV, which also has a big old Punisher badge, right on the grass and stands in front of the gate holding an AR while he scowls at people walking in. Then he walks around eating chili while he holds his gun in the other hand and stares angrily at the neighborhood folks dishing up chili for themselves. Last year, we started heckling him for being a rent-a-cop bringing a rifle to a gated community chili cook-off, and in a deadpan serious voice he said, "You never know, so you always gotta be prepared." Thanks to our HOA for spending our money on keeping us safe, I guess. If armed assailants ever descend on our chili cook-off, we'll all be protected by one angry old bald guy who thinks he's a comic book mercenary. Seriously, why are we blowing our money on this crap? By the way, to address the damning point that he cannot eat chili while he is holding a gun, it was on a sling. Is that seriously what you picked out from this? And the next one is another HOA story from r/FHOA. It is titled HOA illegally cut our internet wire. For context, context, I live in a house in a gated community with many houses next to each other. Basically, our Spectrum wire that runs from the outside to the box, which is a bit of ways, they cut. I'm not sure if they knew it was an internet wire or what, but they cut it. Apparently, it was an eyesore how it was exposed a tiny bit to the box, which makes no sense because there's other wires there also. Not to mention, it's been there for years. So we called Spectrum and they sent out a guy today to check it out. Here's the kicker though, not only did they have someone cut the long expensive wire, but they also stole it. The Spectrum guy was like, what the hell? They cannot do that, they cannot destroy our property. He also said he could have reconnected it, even cut if they didn't steal it, so it's not even our cable/internet, it is Spectrum's. So now we have to wait until Monday so they can bring in a few guys to put a new wire and the labor to get it from our house to the box. Spectrum is gonna charge the HOA the bill, it just doesn't make sense to me. We had no idea that they were even doing that to our property, no notifications or anything, they just came and did it. I was at work. Only reason we knew was because my dad heard someone on the roof and the wire is cut. And the guy said he was part of the HOA. Isn't that illegal as hell? Beyond just destroying and stealing Spectrum property, they cannot come to our property without notifying us and destroy something. Honestly, if I was home, I would have 100% said, what the F are you doing? Get the F down. If I saw someone on my roof, Spectrum said they'll increase our internet speeds and give us a faster and stronger cable when they come install it on Monday for the inconvenience of waiting 2 more days. But my war is with the HOA right now, because what the hell? F HOAs. Update to the story, the last post I made blew up and was super popular, so if you were one of the people that saw my last post and wanted an update, here it is. So of course it turns out that the HOA indeed cut and admitted to cutting my internet wire. Not surprising, but apparently there was some error somewhere, according to them, where the guy that cut it wasn't supposed to. He was just to inspect and go from there, where we figure out a solution to make it less of an eyesore. Somewhere between them and that person there was a miscommunication. According to them, whether or not that's the truth, who knows. So after being angrily on the phone with them, they quickly apologized when I started bringing up FCC and potentially even filing a police report. They said that any fee from Spectrum they will pay, so we got on a 3-way call with Spectrum and the HOA greenlit for Spectrum to make any necessary repairs and send the bill to them or whatever extra fees that will come from this. Also, I mentioned to the HOA that doesn't make me whole, considering I've been 4 days now without internet. So I asked how are they gonna make me whole from their mistake. They said they'll give me 2 months waived HOA fees as an apology. I agreed, as in the end I want no more problems and I just want my internet back. Furthermore, Spectrum agreed to prorate the days I was missing by not having internet and will increase my speeds. Increasing my speeds just to be nice and because I'm a loyal customer. So I'd say it all worked out in the end. This was my first ever run-in with the HOA and I'm sure the HOA knew they messed up, because they put me on hold for like 10 minutes. Then came back with an apology and started being extra nice afterwards. So Spectrum is gonna come tomorrow to rewire and make the necessary repairs. It is dumb because all the HOA had to do was talk to me about it and I would have called Spectrum. Even Spectrum said it was an easy fix to where all they had to do was move the wire up out of place and not being noticeable. But instead it turned into all of this. Hopefully after that the situation is done, no more, and we can all just move on. Can't say if this is a trash HOA or not, as it is the first time they've ever messed with my house in any way, but thanks for everyone that gave me advice or was on my side. And the next one is a brand new malicious compliance story that is titled Short and Sweet. So I work in a deli in a grocery store that's changed ownership lately. We're trying to do the extra mile because we now have more suitors to buy out our company yet again. I ring up chicken tenders for this customer, along with a small soda they ordered. I scanned the small soda and chicken tenders by weight. I decided to give the customer a large cup just to be nice. However, this customer is surprised by the price of the chicken tenders, which was highly accurate, and noticed a large drink. She said to me, "Hey, are you dense? I ordered a small drink, give me a small one." I put the large cup back and get her a small one. Just then she looked and said, "Excuse me, the price didn't change." I know, I rang you up for a small one, here it is. The malicious compliance came in the fact that I knew that she would expect the price to come down, but it didn't. She turned away and walked off in a huff, and after all of that, we are out of Dr. Pepper. So yeah, she got what she deserved. And yeah guys, thank you for watching, I will see you again tomorrow.